Hello! So, story time. Let us approach the great mystery with curiousness and willingness. For those who have seen the spark of light, the spark of truth through the mist of the mystery, the fog of the mystery, shall initiate themselves into the receipt of the sacred teachings, that which will bring light and guidance through the mire of illusion, through the fog and through the mist. And as we engage the great mystery, as the self initiates, we will find lighthouses, those who have gone before us, who have paved paths and who have found peaks from which to see the great map, the great geometry. And as we go from lighthouse to lighthouse, each revealing a portion of the map, as we zoom in, as we zoom out, we shall see the great geometry, the perfected geometry begin to reveal itself. And how this applies to our own bodies, how this applies to our own story, how this applies to the collective story, shall become clear. And we shall no longer be lost down these fragmented paths, deep into endless tangents, endless mires, distorted from infinite fragments, infinite perceptions and points of view, infinite interpretations as we zoom in and as we zoom out. As we go from lighthouse to lighthouse, we shall see a repeating geometry that becomes the map. And within this perspective, we shall be oriented and guided in order to navigate the realm, to bring upon this realm the most high visions through our vessels. And as we refine the vessel, as we refine the body, as we refine the mind and the emotions and feelings and the thoughts, we shall receive the most high vision more and more clearly, less and less distorted through the fractal patterns of our own ego and our own personalities. We shall receive the most high vision, and it shall shine through our clean vessels like a clean lens and manifest into this world in the most coherent and aligned version with that most high vision. And it's an ongoing process, and we face it with willingness, and we face it with curiosity and aliveness. Yes, aliveness. So, where to start? Let's talk about alchemy. Alchemy, how does alchemy apply to all of this? Well, I shall tell you. What must first be noticed is that things are not as they seem. The conventional and mainstream perspective, the conventional and mainstream interpretation and record of history, archaeology, anthropology, physics, realm dynamics is quite limited. And intentionally so. We've come into a very dense period where the sacred knowledge is held by only a few, and oftentimes inverted for the service of self rather than the service of the whole, of the all. Rather than doing the work of the Most High God, it's the work of the ego, which of course is an aspect of God, and so all is in perfection. However, we shall align with the most perfect geometry possible as beings of light, as beings oriented towards center, towards unity, towards the collective awakening from the dream spell. And the best way to approach the great mystery, the great mist, is with humility and therefore humor. Because when you first step into the fog. Who the fuck knows what is what and who is who? However, you will come out wise, and you will come out with knowledge. And the sacred knowledge is quite simple, though the many aspects of how, the many aspects of the details of how to manifest, how to create, which create is not even the right word, because all has already been created. We're merely moving the furniture around. We're reorienting the geometry to be the most perfect reflection of that most high geometry. As it goes through the expansion spiral, as it goes back into the contraction spiral, the composting, the regenerating, the expansion, contraction, the explosion, implosion, the entropy, negentropic expression, which happens to be a toroid, at least in this realm. So, let's talk about alchemy. Why is that? Why is it important to talk about alchemy? Shall I continue this voice for story time the whole time? I think I've committed at this point. We're at 6 minutes. How far will we go? We must recognize that it appears that the story is not such as the explosion story, where it was a great, everything was a singularity and then exploded outwards in the Big Bang, and that everything is tumbling and spiraling outwardly in a state of entropy, winding down from the original explosive energy to an eventual death of the world. Do you believe this is so? I do not believe this is so. This is not what my senses tell me. This is not what my intuition tells me. This is not what my research of countless books, countless teachers, countless lighthouses along the way gives to me the notion of, which therefore is not how this is for to be, therefore. Okay, so I'm going to reorient in English again. It appears that civilization comes in, and most high organization comes in cycles and in waves, that things organize to the most perfect peak of organizational gold, like a golden age where the spiritual knowledge is known through all aspects of creation, that the sacred knowledge of the ability to project one's frequency, one's focus, one's vision into the fertile waters of Ninma, Mater, Mother, Mater, that shall not come back void, but come back as the child known as the voice or the creation. Alchemy, yes. So we know that we are quite clear that civilization actually, through however time works, whether it be millions of years or if that's even the case, no one really knows, that it goes through points of golden age and it descends down into composting ages of explosiveness, of entropy, of distortion. We call this the composting. We call this the age of Kali, the destruction and the creation of new fertility for awakening and towards the upcycle, towards the implosive point. We appear to be in the Kali Yuga as we speak, in the age of the most contracted, the most distorted, the most composting, the most fertile and potent time. And so from this understanding that we go through these cycles, we must choose a place to go back to. What part of the cycle shall we tell the story from? Because the story repeats. This is why Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun, because the story repeats. We're spiraling. However, it's never exactly the same. It is similar, because a spiral never touches the same point. Alchemy. So let's go back to Khemet. Khemet is perhaps one of the last hints that we have of the previous golden age of widespread carrying of the sacred knowledge, expression of the sacred knowledge. And why do we go back to a Khemet? Well, because alchemy comes from Khemet, which obviously it came from beyond Khemet. Khemet means land of the black. Al-Khemet means within the black, or access to the black. And in the context of alchemy, in the context and knowledge that alchemy refers to the ability to access the creation point, the black point, the void, the black hole, we can translate that alchemy means access to the black hole. What is the black hole? The black hole is the place where there's no time and no space, but everything exists simultaneously. It's the pure potential, it's the pure fertile waters of existence and creation. So alchemy refers to access to that point from which all springs forth. And alchemy is the ability to steer what shall project forth from that place. So Khemet was very interesting because we know it was the place, the land of the black, the land of alchemy, the land of access to the black hole. And there is legend that says that the Khemetans were able to do a type of alchemy, we call it physical alchemy, where they actually were able to create a living, self-organizing, fractal vessel that was able to contain the living plasma of a spirit perpetually within its form, to be able to reproduce, able to go forth through the millennia. And that sacred animal was known as the cat. And this is why we see the cat is a very peculiar type of creature. It makes a hissing noise, and it has slits for eyes, even though its relatives all have round pupils. The cat appears to be, and what the legend says is that the cat was a hybrid of the snake and a more native cat. And this is a hint to us that there was an even more advanced order preceding Khemet, perhaps from the Golden Age, that had a function in this realm that was to terraform the planet, terraform the realm with the flora and fauna and the creatures that we see today. Is it true? Perhaps. It seems feasible that there was a high intelligent form of human or high intelligent form of being that actually had a perfect natural function within the perfect golden mean geometry of creation to actually propagate DNA in a regenerative way, not splicing and synthesizing that we see in this degraded time that creates all kinds of backlash and issues. For example, we have plastic as a synthetic. Plastic doesn't work so well in this realm. It does not compost. It actually lasts for hundreds of years, and it breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces, and then it gets in the belly of the plankton and gets in the belly of the fish, poisons the land, poisons the people, disrupts hormones, disrupts everything for a period. But they were able to terraform in a way that was in coherence with the golden principle: perfect distribution of resources, perfect propagation of charge, acceleration of energy towards center, perfect distribution of that accelerated energy through the implosion point and back out into the self-organized, perfected geometry of the toroid, which is what our aura looks like. It's quite measurable. It's what the aura around the heart looks like. It's what the aura around the cells look like. It's what the aura around trees and plants and animals all looks like. This is a fractal geometry, meaning at all scales we see self-similarity. And through the ages, alchemy was passed down through the orders into the most concentrated, into the most dense time that we experience now in the Kali Yuga, and the sacred knowledge is now held in its most intact form by the secret orders, who, again, there are probably secret orders who hold the sacred knowledge in integrity, and there are also secret orders who have usurped, inverted, and abused the sacred knowledge for service to self at the expense of many. So in this time, where the fog is thick, where the mist of the mystery is quite misty, we must initiate ourselves into the discovery of the great mystery into the sacred knowledge and the realization that our frequency influences the fertile waters of Matahir that surrounds us at all time to create our own reality, and together as a collective, the collective reality, and reclaim our place of sovereignty and nobility in the realm. Indeed, indeed. Are you with me, plant ninjas? Oh, what a funny name in this time that we live in, when things are so serious, yet so humorous. Perhaps that is a good place. Nay, I shall continue. Let us talk of alchemy. Alchemy, if you study into alchemy, you will learn that there is a simultaneous process in alchemy of self-development, self-discovery, self-realization, as well as the refinement of one's skills and techniques in order to make transmutations, in order to gain greater and greater coherence and access to the phase conjugation, implosion, black hole point of creation, in order to steer the direction of that which is intended to be arranged or created. For example, when you get into the study of alchemy, you'll see that it begins with plant alchemy or herbology, and you begin by starting to make spagyrics. You have your vessels, you have your flasks, you have your burners, you have your crucible, you have your hearth, you have everything you need. And everything in alchemy, here's a secret, all of the vessels in alchemy are a reflection of the vessels in the human body, the organ systems of refinement and filtration, even fermentation, even incineration. Why is this? Because we were made in the image of the Most High, and this human body is the most perfect alchemical vessel that there is. It is a matter of realigning the geometry with the golden mean, perfect plasma, perfect geometry, perfect expression, in order to create more and more perfect, more and more aligned manifestations. So, the reason you start with plants is because plants are less dangerous. You start by breaking the plants into its individual components, the sulfur, the ferment, the spirit, the ash, and then you combine them in a very specific way to create a highly refined and highly potent medicine. And as you take these spagyrics to get the organ systems more refined, and as you refine the consciousness, you face the traumas, you face the negative self-talk, you face the self-limiting beliefs, you refine your frequency, and you are ready to step up to the next level, which is mineral alchemy. This is where we start to work with the metals, the earth metals, the minerals. And there's a reason why we must start with plants, is because plants are much harder to blow yourself up with. But as we transcend and ascend in the great orders of the initiation, the great orders of what is the word I'm looking for? The great stairway to heaven. Then we are ready to take on a more risky task, such as transmutation and combination of minerals. These are much easier to blow yourself up with, so you must have refined your ability to focus, you must have refined your ability to use your equipment, your burners, your flasks. And as you start with simple things such as the oil of gold and the oil of silver, and creating these beautiful ormes, and you take these things, you further refine the frequency of the body, you further refine the organ systems, you further face the distortions of ego and lost personality. You bring home the lost parts of self that are yearning to be seen, yearning to be integrated. And as you do this, eventually you are able to take on higher forms of alchemy. Why is it important that you must refine your own body and your own frequency? Well, as you take on more sensitive recipes, part of the realization is the knowing that every thought, every feeling, every emotion that you have in your body, in your vessel, in your mind, influences the fertile waters of Matahir that surrounds us. And if you are doing a sensitive alchemical transmutation, such as converting a base or transmuting a base metal into gold, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your subconscious programming affects the recipe. You have a literal vibration that comes out of your vessel and infuses within the process, within the recipe, and can fuck it all up if you don't do it right. Blow yourself up. Many have done this, many before us. However, if you refine your consciousness, you refine your aspects of self, your organ systems, the inner alchemy, then you can have one pointed focus. You can do perfect calculations, perfect combinations, perfect transmutations, and the results are higher alchemical transmutation, such as transmutation of base metal to gold. And the higher order above that is perhaps the mystery does point towards in alchemy. In Khemet is one of our hints in the mystery is physical alchemy, how to create an actual living being that is in perfect golden mean geometry, that can reproduce, that has the self-containing seed, that has the ability to implode, that has the ability to have an aura and to hold a spirit. This is physical transmutation. This is physical alchemy. And the cat is an example of this great feat. That the cat is a hint that allows us to peer through the eons into Lemuria and Atlantis. It may sound fanatical or fantasy-ish, but the secret orders believe in these things. They speak about it in great depth. The New Atlantean Society and the great Atlantean civilization and the great cataclysms that spread the tribes of Israel, that made people lost in this time of Kali Yuga. So this was just I don't have a big point other than here. Then the mystery is before us. The information is around. The pieces are fragmented, though if you look and you see the parallels long enough, you will start to see the perfect geometry that is the same at all scales, as far as you zoom in, as far as you zoom out. And in this, we can start to apply this to our life. How can we refine our frequency? It starts with the body. Start to get the physical vessel online. This requires the simultaneous development of the mindset in order to have the discipline, in order to orient in this long-term vision, in this long-term health-affirming behavior. The mind and the body are refined together, and as we refine the mind and the body, the organ system, we feed the body what it needs, the human specific diet. We get more nourishment from nature, we get more nourishment from the plasma that surrounds us at all times. The organ systems begin to come online, the alchemical vessels refine, we are able to receive the higher vision with more crystal clarity, and the emotions become more refined and more balanced and controlled because the organ systems are associated with the different emotions. If you are have the liver out of check, meaning you drink a bunch of beer or alcohol, then you will feel frustration and anger and impatience, because liver is associated with frustration, anger, and impatience. The lungs is associated with melancholy, the heart with excitement, the kidneys with fear, and so on and so on. When we refine these things, we have the ability to control our own frequency with more power. We reclaim the throne of our consciousness up here in the top, in the higher will, versus where it's lost in so many parts in the animalistic nature of I want this, I want to fuck that, I want to eat that, I want to blah, 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 for instant gratification. But with the wisdom and with discipline and with the intention and willingness and curiosity to engage the great mystery and the willingness to my great beard. This is did you know my beard is like this? Because I am a mix of Cherokee and Northern European. So there's nothing here. I am like the cat, a transmutation of strangeness. And I like to stroke 0 hairs. We approach the great mystery. We do it with intent, with pure intent, for the good of all, for the self, for the willingness to reveal and to bring light and awareness to that which beckons to be seen, the shadow, the lost parts of self. As we bring them home, we will more and more powerfully manifest heaven on earth. That's really what it comes down to. And that's the Plant Ninja Initiative. Oh man, this was fun. I appreciate each and every one of you who actually lasted through the entire 25 minutes that I've gone here in storytelling in this sing-song voice. And I love you all deeply because I know who you are. I see you, and I see you as the spirit watching through all eyes. All eyes and all eyes. And let's all continue to walk each other home hand in hand. I love you.